Old
We are
freezer.
live.
Oh, we're live.
Nice.
All right.
Woo! Party.
Nice.
It is Thursday, 3 o'clock Mountain Standard Time.
Welcome,
on
everyone.
This, the 27th day of May in the year of our Lord 2020. So, pretty impressive.
It's the 28th.
Is it the 28th?
It is the 28th.
Then why does it say that it's the 27th on our...
The title is confused because it was written yesterday, and Anyway, it's fixed now.
Oh, good. Phew.
It'll show up eventually. But anyway, that's not the point. Let's say hello to our folks who are listening right now.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Hey.
And we got some questions pouring in. This should be good.
Yeah,
this should be a fun Thursday.
Questions. You can see Augie's right over here over my shoulder. Hadley's out here. They wanted me to kick it off first by letting all of our friends know here at the rag company that we got a kitten.
Oh.
A new kitten. What's his name, guys? We named him Lucky. Because the other day we were told, so this was on, would have been Monday, we were told that Tuesday, that this kitten that we were going to go pick up tomorrow had been taken by a wild animal.
Oh.
Now, mind you, these are farm cats. The family had them in a woodshed. There were two mama cats that had litters 10 days apart. The two mama cats were taking care of both litters.
The rough and tumble kind of cats.
Rough and tumble kind of cats. My kind of cats, you know. And they were very cute. We went out last week, got to see them, got to play with them. They were awesome. Picked out the one we wanted, and then said we'll be back on Friday to pick them up. And then, lo and behold, they felt bad. They called, said, "Oh, we think your cat's missing. It might have gotten taken by a wild animal," because they live on a farm. Wow. So needless to say, kids were a little bummed, a little sad. Then they called us the next day, like that morning, and said, "Well, never mind, found the kitten. Would you like to come get him?" So we just said, well, we're not taking any chances. So yesterday evening after work, we headed straight out there to Nampon to get this little kitten, and he's a little black and white tuxedo, and we named him Lucky. So I'll have a picture of him up on our on my Instagram page after this. You guys can check it out. I've got two children standing directly behind me, but you can't see them because of my virtual background.
Oh.
So they wanted to let me change that, but you guys can go ahead. But that was, the kids were very excited to let everybody know about that. So Hadley and Augie, you guys want to wave? Here, let me get that closed.
There they are.
Oh my.
All right, go ahead, guys. Let's get this thing started.
Yeah. So who we got at the top of the list there, Morgan?
I see David. Is everyone else David?
Yep.
Okay, so David says, I have a 2018 Outback Touring. I am new to detailing. I purchased a MacShine M8S DA polisher. What do you suggest for towels and pads to start with? I also purchased the Turtle Wax hybrid lineup.
Okay.
So it sounds like he picked up, I'm looking it up. I don't know a lot about MacShine polishers. But the MacShine M8S is a dual action short throw. So those pads, it's a 8 millimeter dual action. So it's a short throw polisher. So in that case, David, I would recommend picking up some of the Lake Country flat foams and or the CCS pads. Both of those would work perfectly on that little machine. And then a neat little upgrade that you can do on the Harbor Freight and you can do on the Porter Cable is to switch to one of our 3-inch backing plates and run it as a 3-inch. That really wakes that machine up. I do not know if you're able to do that on the MacShine or not. I would assume yes, that it would be a universal backing plate so that you could, or thread pattern, so you'd be able to switch it out. So that's something potential for the future as you grow, is being able to switch out that back plate and have a dual purpose of that machine. So
makes sense.
All right.
Next up, we've got William J here saying, Since it is in the pick, what are your thoughts on the Rupa's Nano? I've heard about it for over a year, or I've had it for over a year. I have not been overly impressed with the cost/value proposition. Well, I have to wonder, maybe he's just not getting the amount of use he thought he would get out of it for small spaces. It really depends on what you're normally putting yourself up against as a detailer. I mean,
Yeah.
if you're dealing with a lot of, small surfaces that fold in on each other, I can see it being a really, really helpful tool. But if you're dealing with a lot of slab-sided trucks or something, yeah, it's maybe not the best fit for you.
Yeah, and when I had mine, I mean, Anthony has one that he uses. Morgan and I share the one that the rag company has for whenever we need it for those types of jobs.
Yep.
But prior to that, I bought a hybrid for my shop because I did a lot of antique cars. And so a lot of these vintage cars had a ton of different bright work, different trim pieces and stuff that they were more intricate. You'd have your windshield moldings were steel, but they were also like flared and had different divots. It was a lot harder to get into with a dual action polisher. So I needed to be able to switch to a rotary, and I needed something small like that and lightweight and easy to get at. That's why I use that. Also, the reason I bought it was for the interiors because the dashboards are steel and they're painted usually. And that made a lot more sense to get in with something that was battery powered, something small. I could touch up a couple spots and not get in there with a bigger polisher to really, make a mess. So that was my reason. But same thing, like Dane said, if you don't have a need for it, there's no reason to get it, which is why, like I said, Morgan and I use it very sparingly in our weekend details. I find myself maybe using it maybe once or twice a year.
But it's one of those ones where you run into a situation where you could use it. You could really use it.
Right. Yeah. Anthony, agree?
Well, yeah, I agree. I think that so since I bought mine, I probably used mine, I'd probably say 30 times, at this point, maybe 30 to 40 times total. It's not one of those things that you're always gonna be breaking out for every single job. It's just not. But it is something that, if you're doing some concourse level details, or if you're going, kind of crazy with things, I mean, it's a super useful tool. And there's a lot of situations where you can't fit a 3-inch pad into something, and so the Nano really comes into play there. I tell people, try to find other uses for it, right? There's brush attachments for it. There's all sorts of stuff to where you can try to get your money's worth. And I know that, when I got it, I think the first job I ever did, it already paid for itself on the first job I ever did. So that's kind of how I look at it as, did it pay for itself already? Yes. Can I still utilize it? Absolutely. Is it something I'm using all the time? Absolutely not. But it's a very nice option. I mean, I use it for polishing my helmets. I use it for polishing interior bits if I'm polishing like piano black trim, carbon fiber, things like that, small things like handheld things specifically, exhaust. There's really the possibilities are endless. It's just a matter of breaking it out and using it, because the power is there. It's got great power for it. It's never let me down. The reliability is top notch. So I love it. It's just a matter of finding a lot of uses for it.
Well,
Yeah,
and you can
Morgan?
change the type as well between forced rotation and DA style on the tool.
Well, Morgan, the times you've used it, what were they on?
I mostly use it for wheels because before I coated my wheels recently, they would get really like stained and etched and stuff just from like water or brake dust or whatever else. And obviously, like, you can't get a big pad in those little areas. So to do like polished lips, you got to get something small in there. So I would go in with just like metal polish and then the Nano, and it worked perfectly.
Boom. There you go. All right. William J. continues his question with, what are your thoughts versus ceramic versus graphene? Are we at the point that it makes sense to strip a ceramic coat and try it? Full and fair disclosure, I'm in France. Oh, no, I'm in finance. I just enjoy shiny. William, so the problem is this is a hard thing. Graphene is a substrate product or whatever that has had its uses in many industrial applications. This is the first time it's really been starting to make its way into the automotive industry, and it's something that I would wait and see. Now, there are coatings, and there is one coating for sure that it's SPS or something like that. Is that right? You guys know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's SPS.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
That are actually utilizing a graphene coating, where other companies are starting to enter the wave of it, or at least look into it. We are at the very beginning, so I can't tell you anything more than that. That is something I feel you're going to have to research yourself and look at. I'm going to tell you just from the fact that Anthony and myself and Morgan and Dane keep a very close watch on the industry. You're not wrong. It is going to change, but it is going to take a couple years. And of course, COVID-19 has slowed a lot of this down for manufacturing for a lot of different businesses. So we may still be a year to 18 months before we really see a big ramp up of products containing graphene. Throughout the industry.
How many years were ceramic coating products out before people really started to adopt them into the mainstream, before they became something that just people into detailing talked about?
Well, what a lot of people don't know, ceramic coatings for cars have been out for over almost 20 years.
A lot of automotive parts had that kind of stuff, like wheels and things would have that done.
And they were more, same thing, an industrial type of coating in industrial surfaces and things. And then it really didn't get big in the US till almost 10 years ago. And even then it was still just kind of a, whoa, what is this? What, we can do this on a car? And that was over 10 years ago. I mean, we're talking anywhere from, right in that 14 to 10 years range.
Yeah.
And when I started installing, I didn't have, even the manufacturers didn't really know how to install a coating, and each coating was different. And so there's a lot of learning. And so I think this is still going to be that kind of that same process for a lot of folks. So do your own research. If you want to do something like that, go for it. Have fun, well, report back.
And
but
at the very least, go check out the detox you did with Ivan. I think is a good one to go watch.
Yeah. Well, and you can wait. You can chill out and see just where it goes. Who knows? Yeah. Maybe your best, one of the brands you like is going to bring out their own, and you can try theirs. So
always a possibility.
All right, Siobhan Legrande, Lehendre, Big Sexy. What's the best protection other than a ceramic coating that I can use on fender shields and undercarriage? Man, Big Sexy, that's one of those things that you got to be. That's a very high traffic area in the sense that a lot of dirt, a lot of grime, a lot of all that stuff. The old school of thought was fill it with a tire dressing or a silicone-based dressing or something so that it would, one, protect it, but also help repel the dirt. I would try and look for something like if you're really heavily cleaning and you're taking care of this stuff, there are companies, B&B Blending, Shine Supply, some of those that make undercarriage coatings. Shine Supply has one called Classy Chassis. It's like a chassis cleaning dressing that you can spray. I usually just use OptiBond for a lot of that stuff for frames and inner fender wells because I like the length of time that it lasts. I like that it's water-based. So that's kind of that's what I use, but I don't look for a lot of longevity. Short of that, it's just paint it. Anybody disagree?
No, I think it covers it pretty good.
And then next question, how do I know when the brushes and my polishers need to change from Big Sexy? It will warble, easiest way to describe it, starts to lose a little bit of power. You also may notice a bit of just a loss of power. Honestly, you should probably change them. I don't know, you can check Rubra's site and see, but they recommend an actual time to swap those. You can pick them up from Buff Daddy's website. And I like buying a dozen or so because you replace 2 at a time. And so it's nice to just have extras because then if it does go out, you just swap them out. They're also, once you get good at it, it's 10 minutes, piece of cake to swap them out, put them back in. I think it takes longer to put the screws in and take the screws out on the case than it does to swap the brushes. So, all right. Travis says, hello. Kia Possessor is possessing Kias, says good afternoon. A TRC. A Sem Albadi says, okay. And then Mike Spina says, hey, what's up, TRC fam? Question for Anthony. I follow him on Instagram, I'm assuming your personal account, and was wondering how the fender rolling went on the Civic and if he's still contemplating changing wheels. Thanks, guys. So Anthony, I don't know, that's kind of directed to you. I just see pictures of your beautiful golden retrievers on your Instagram and your wife.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
a little surprised by that. I don't see a lot of Civic content on the Instagram.
Yeah.
Ignore what's behind him.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely not my personal Instagram. I mean, I only have one, and it's just, it's just Anthony Fisher. But I would say fender rolling on the Civic went really, really well. I mean, it literally, I don't think it could have gone any better for what it is. And so there's no paint cracking, no paint chipping. That's like the biggest thing. And I'm sure there's a lot of other people who have, contemplated rolling fenders that are running a meteor set of wheels or tires. And it's scary.
I'm contemplating it, but I enjoy the rubbing.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, rubbing's racing. So, I mean, that's right. Pretty much that. So, but no, it's, everybody gets really worried because I'm worried about that kind of stuff. Because if the paint cracks or chips, then all you're thinking is, okay, well, how much time till that chip or that crack reaches the outer fender well, or whatever may happen. And so fortunately it was the Civic that we did this on. The thing that is the cheapest to fix and the cheapest car I have. So, but it went super well. We just heated up the paint a lot. I didn't know how much heat is actually applied to that process, but it was way more than what I would have ever done on my own. But heat up the panel, start rolling, start going slow, get your very minimal angle to begin with, just kind of start getting it flattened out and then start working it in. But it went flawless. I really couldn't have asked for it to go on any better. So I think from now, I mean, there's really nothing else to do it. And the fitment is amazing. I mean, I can now put, 2-3 people in the back seat and it's not going to rub. So I'm pretty excited. So, but it went well. Sweet. And in terms of changing wheels, maybe here eventually. So I actually really do like the Koenig hexaforms that are going to be coming out here in the next month or so, as we are big advocates of Koenig wheels. And
Dane, what's that say on your shirt?
It's funny you mentioned Koenig. I happen to really like their shirt, so I do have a Koenig shirt.
Great people, great company.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Shout out Scott. Great guy.
Like, there's so many different wheels out there, but in my head, Koenig is on the same par as, BBS, CCW.
This is going to start a fire in the comments. I can't wait.
Literally they're roughly all the same.
Well, according to my brother-in-law, they do. So
basically,
very nice.
They're coming for your 4Gs.
So they're a very competitive wheel at a tenth of the cost. So I really just don't see anything wrong with them. So but those hexaforms are coming out and they look pretty sweet. So if I were to ever change up the wheel, I would still stick with a black wheel and go with that. And I probably wouldn't get rid of my ones that I have now because I really do I love them. I think they look amazing. I think just kind of like a change of pace, switch it up, maybe have one as like a winter set and one as like a summer set. So but all right, we'll keep moving on here. Mike Spina says, I also promise not to bother Levi about the Pepsi versus Coke this week. And I think we all still know the answer to that.
I appreciate that.
I got your back, Mike. You're all right.
Hans goes in the house, says, Willow Fiber family, stop eating my stroop waffles. Hans, we will continue to eat your stroop waffles as long as you keep providing them. And then we have the Master of Shine in the house, which is exciting to have him in here. Wow. What a celebrity. How many subscribers is the Master of Shine at?
About 380 last check, maybe 340.
Wow.
So only 600 more to go before you can go live.
600 more. Can't wait. Gonna be awesome.
Yeah, live content. So make sure you go subscribe to him. And then,
well, I'm doing such wonderful things as lighting installs here at the MLS HQ, as well as organizational tips for many of you. So you too can see it spawned an entire craze sweeping not only the Rag Company podcast discretion group, but also Obsessed Garage. Hashtag get organized Levi. So
there you go.
Really great stuff. Really a movement sweeping the nation. So
so we have G Davis in the house that says, oh hell yes. or oh hell yeah, sorry. And Scott Weaver says, what's the best finishing polish for gloss black pillar trim? So I have finished out plenty of gloss black pillar trim with hyper polish, and I've had fantastic results. That with a lake country black pad typically gives me the finish I'm looking for. So you can finish out with a black, you can finish out with a very the light green color is what they have. And then the Rupa's white will finish out really, really well as well. So, but hyper polish has kind of been my go-to. I'm sure you probably even finish it out with the last cut. I think that there's some other ones you can use, like Rennie Doyle has a jeweling polish if you want to jewel those bad boys out. But I would say if you're finishing out gloss black trim, if it's on your vehicle, there's not a lot of how do I say this? There's not a lot of it's an epoxy resin is basically what it is, and there's not a lot on it. So when they actually do the molds, we actually spoke to somebody at Detailer's Domain about that, and he explained that there is very minimal coating on those from the factory, and so
it's not even real clear.
It's like some type of an epoxy, like laminate type of product. Basically, you want to finish that out, and then if you can put paint protection film over it and then just be done with it for forever, do it. I mean,
PPF would be nice. I was going to point out one very important thing, just because it was a case on my C-Max when Sydney did the B pillars and everything. She polished them up, did a great job, but it's important to note that oftentimes if you have that kind of painted, such as like piano black trim, there's usually going to be some more like standard black plastic trim that's not necessarily clear to painted or anything close by it. So you got to be really careful what polish or compound or whatever you're going to use to polish it you choose, because you don't want to stain that stuff. It's a real pain to deal with that after the fact. So I would definitely steer towards the hyper twins, such as hyper polish, or go to TLC, the last cut, because those ones, at least, you're going to be safe. You're not going to get that crazy staining and stuff. And in the case of hyper polish, Ivan always likes to tell people they actually clean up trim. So it's kind of a nice little bonus.
Yeah. Okay. So moving down here, we have, I don't know how the heck to say this, but I'm just going to call you 044 says, hi, please describe the exact procedure of removing a big area of old gasoline or diesel stain on the car carpet or seat. Thanks a lot in advance.
Step by step, please.
Dane or Levi?
So I've had to remove diesel and gasoline from carpet. I would recommend you pull the carpet out if you can, and then buy new carpet. If you can't buy new carpet, remove the carpet. Take the carpet out, and then heavy degreaser on the carpets. Let that soak, because with diesel, it's very oily. Gasoline is probably already evaporated, whereas diesel is very oily and water resistant. It's very hydrophobic. Same with gasoline. So a degreaser of some sort would be perfect for that situation. Let that stuff sit for a very long time, then take a pressure washer to it, pressure wash that until it stops soaping, because diesel will also soap. It's a glycerin style, so it'll act very weird. But really, just pressure wash until it's out and repeat. Hit it again with a degreaser, scrub it up, spray it out. It just keep going until you get it as clean as possible with just the flow of water. With the pressure washer, shows that it's pushing it out so that it looks the same all the way through. Because what'll happen is when you hit the diesel, it'll turn very sudsy and foamy. And so you need to keep rinsing until it's out, then extract it, and then hang dry it if you can. Lay it out in the sun for something. The sun and its UV properties will be your best bet to help destroy the odor within that. And so I would fold it, leave it over one way and then flip it over if it's got an underlayment, because you got to remember, you got to get that underlayment cleaned as well. So you may extract that side as well, specifically where the stain is, but it's not an easy process.
Now, when all is said and done, would it be at all beneficial to run like an ozone machine, or is that just not really have a point after that?
if they have a big diesel stain in the carpet or the seat, I recommend you get it all out, and then Dane, you could, but you need to get that out first.
Yeah, you're not gonna do that before you do it because then it's pointless.
Yeah,
but after the fact, if you're trying to clean slate it, get as close as you can.
It may. Without seeing pictures and what it looks like, I'm going off of the scent that I would get from semis, like the large diesel trucks, the big trailer carriers, tractor trailers, that the guys would get in, and they would have grease, and they would have motor grease, and they would have hitch grease, and they would have diesel from puddles of diesel at the gas stations in the carpet. And it's that stuff is just black and it's gross. So just trying to get that smell out, that was hard. It's very difficult. So good luck. All day Anthony saying, let's go. He is in the house getting ready to answer some questions himself, I guess. It's pretty cool.
Wow.
Car detailing by Pat Incorporated. Pat says his last cut, a mild compound. No, actually, you can cut quite a bit with it.
Pad
the
dependent.
New product, Last Cut Plus, which we don't have yet, is supposed to be able to provide just a little more aggression. So really excited about that. Carissa, hey, I actually read the directions on my bottle of Uno Protect. It states that there's a 4-hour cure time. May I put Bead Maker on right away? Thank you all. What pad cleaner do you use? So, Carissa, you can. I usually let Uno sit for about an hour and then spray it with Bead Maker. Jason Rose said that there's no real need. You can just leave it on there, take it off, wipe it off, and then you don't need to put Bead Maker or anything on it. It's got enough sealant in there. I mean, realistically, you can. I'd probably wait at least an hour. And then as to the pad cleaners, Anthony and myself use the Lake Country pad washer. They're really great. As to what we use inside there, usually we spritz it with a little bit of either Power Clean diluted or what was all-purpose cleaner, or we'll use we'll keep O&R though in the pad washer, but we'll give the machine and the spritz just a little squirt of Power Clean, then put it on the pad washer. So pretty good. And then Richard Wakefield waiting to see Dane live inside the new taco.
Not quite. It's in the garage, but close enough.
I'm surprised you have a picture of it as your backdrop, Dane.
Well, I mean, I can bounce around, but I don't have one on my computer here at home, so I need to update things. It'll show up upside down if I load it. I noticed Zoom does that. Anyway.
Morgan, you want to hit the next few?
I do. So Vigor Auto Detailing is in the house saying roll out.
Nice. What's up, buddy?
And then our friend 044 wants to know best plastic polishing liquid, UV protection, shine, and nice smell.
We don't really have
asking quite a bit.
Yeah.
Asking quite a bit out of that, aren't you?
I'm not a big fan of polishing plastic. So if you're meaning like gauge clusters and things like that, I noticed on Dane's brand new truck, his gauge cluster's totally scratched up already.
It's really scratched up, yeah.
And that's from someone just not being smart about what they were doing when they were unwrapping the car.
Yeah.
So in the case of Dane's truck, I would, like a brand new truck with less than 50 miles on it, that worries me, polishing that plastic, because I could make it far worse than it already is.
You don't want to cloud up a new cluster. Yeah.
Right. And it's one of those where you could probably put like a Bead Maker or something on it, Dane, and it would go and it would disappear. Wouldn't be.
Yeah, you're just looking for that clarity. You want to get rid of all the little white marks that you're seeing.
Yeah. However, if I was, Anthony and I were at the junkyard, found ourselves, perhaps a Hyundai Elantra gauge cluster, looking minty fresh with some sweet tacks on it, or something from a Tiburon, I would then take the cluster out, and then that's when I would use something that's been severely damaged and or very dull, very old, and needs to be brought back, because whatever I'm going to do to it is going to make it better. And in that case, most of the time, any polishes work. G-Technic makes a poly polish. Who else? You could use Hyper Polish. You could use Last Cut. CarPro makes some poly polishes, things like that. So in that sense, that's one of those things. Or if, Morgan and Anthony started, selling M3 gauge clusters or Civic gauge clusters from the junkyard, and they were refurbing and cleaning those up, that would make sense to use a plastic polish. But
at least you have a
like
backup in case things don't go your way.
Right. Yeah. It's not that big of an issue. But on a new car, I really don't.
Yeah.
If it's a daily, I don't recommend it unless you can't see it.
I'm leaving it alone unless something changes in it. But yeah, that was something I wasn't as stoked about when I saw it. It was just a little rough feeling.
Call them up and get a new one.
Yeah, maybe they will.
Doug Hope just got Bead Maker, which I'm looking forward to trying. Earlier this month, you mentioned a trigger sprayer that you put on top of your Bead Maker, but I could not make out the name of it. Anthony.
Tolco sprayer. So basically,
Tolco.
Yeah, so you can just take the pint-sized bottle, the little 16-ouncer, and you can you can put a Tolco sprayer right on it. And so I have a red one on mine, but you can get whatever color you want to get, and it just fits right on. And the Tolco sprayer has just a really good mist. I think that the mist setting's fantastic, the spray setting's fantastic. Levi has an example here of an orange Tolco sprayer.
Most of it, anyway.
Most of it, if it'll get in the shot.
You get the idea, though. They have a unique look, so you'll know it when you see it.
So, so I would say find some of those online, throw them in. They're great sprayers. So
there we go.
We have Tom Kirby says, Thursday, time to kick back with TRC. We're glad to have you on the
that's right, bud.
Q&A here. And then 044 says, best Toreador use cases. So I guess you're asking what the best uses for a Toreador are. Blowing
everything.
Out all interiors. Plastics, vents, carpets, seats, literally
just make sure you're putting
the list goes on.
Make sure you're just putting water in it, though. That's the biggest thing.
Or
wearing a respirator.
Because you want to be careful with chemicals, because basically you are creating what would you call that, Levi? You're creating
you atomize it.
You're atomizing it right there on the spot. So when you're basically
it becomes
essentially forcing air into that product, and that product now goes into the air, and now you're breathing it in, right? Which is much different, because it's accelerating the process and it's getting it into the air faster than it would if you were just to spray it normally. And it's kind of hard to explain, but until you start using like all-purpose cleaners and using a Toreador with that, you'll feel it in your lungs. Like you're breathing that stuff in at a much faster rate. So use it with water. You can use it O&R. You can use it with O&R. O&R is pretty safe bet.
Basically, well, I even stay away from O&R. Basically, whatever you don't want to drink, don't put it in there.
I want to drink
O&R.
O&R.
Like I fill mine with Diet Pepsi all the time.
Oh, that
Delicious.
makes sense. Okay.
Works great. Really good stuff. Sweet, clean.
I'm liking his questions, though. They're kind of all over the place, but they're good, specific questions. So thank you for those.
But they're great for blowing out pads, too.
Oh, yeah.
Cleaning pads. So if you don't have a pad washer, a little bit of water in a Toreador, you can just blast and wash out and clean the pad at the same time. Pretty great stuff. So
we got Details Auto Spa. It says currently using Sonak's Perfect Finish on white paint. Other recommendations.
Yeah, you missed Richard here.
Did I? Oh, sorry, Richard.
Yeah.
He says, what's the best way to get Bead Maker out of my towels? I was going to try adding some power clean to my washing machines, since that seemed to do a perfectly good job of removing it when I do a strip wash. You can add power clean to your washing machine. So I still haven't finished like my final results, but I find that soaking the towels in an all-purpose cleaner for a period of days does make a big difference. And so whether it's a Bead Maker towel or whether it's another sealant towel, just mixing up a pretty strong batch of a bucket with some all-purpose cleaner and some water and just soaking the towels in there did a really good job. We have now, so currently using Sonak's Perfect Finish on white paint. Other recommendations, the list goes on, man. I mean, you can use, Perfect Finish is great, but you can use the Last Cut, you could use the Rubra system, you could use whatever the heck you want to use.
Especially on something like white.
Yeah, there's not, it kind of is what it is. We have 65 single overhead cam says, all my Ragco towels cover my car with tiny bits of lint. Is there any way to save these towels? Well, that can be happening for a number of reasons. First off, how old are the towels? Second off would be
which towels are they?
Kind of, what kind of towels are they? What kind of abuse have they seen? Are they new towels? Are they, how are they old towels? Have they seen high heat in your dryer? Have they seen high heat with water? I mean,
you could wash with old towels.
Yeah, the fibers could be damaged. They could be linting from old towels and holding on to old lint. So give us a little bit more information there.
Have they been washed with anything else? That's the other one.
I will say this. If you are, the easiest way to figure out with your towels is when you do laundry, take that, let's say 1 bag of towels, split them into 2 loads, wash those loads separately, dry those loads separately. Again, cold water, free and clear detergent, half a cup of distilled white vinegar, and then no dryer sheets, no fabric softener, nothing, just cold dry. So low heat, tumble dry. Pull those towels out, wipe down both the washing machine and the dryer, clean them all off, preferably with a new towel or a towel that you haven't contaminated. Then, to get really crazy, you could run an empty load of just water through the machine just to make sure you're cleared out, make sure there's no fibers or anything left in there. Then wash that second load. Then just compare, see which load lints. If both of them lint, split them again and continue to split them. You may get to a point where you're only washing 6 towels at a time. But the key is to find out where those linters are. Usually you can get down to 1 to find the culprit, or at least the last few culprits. However, it only takes 1 towel, and it only takes a very, very small corner or edge of a towel to continue to lint, to contaminate an entire batch of towels. So the process of elimination you would need to follow by splitting your loads and continue to split those loads to find out which ones are still linting. Hopefully the ones that aren't, you've washed, they're not linting, great, you're done. And then that the other batch has the bad towel in it. And so it's just working your way through. And like Anthony says, 90% of the time, a lot of people keep their towels for a year or 2, don't really care for them that great, and then realize, oh, well, it's time to change out your towels. Other times it's from day 1, and maybe they did get a bad batch, but they never reached out to us to let us know. We take care of that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
so
just let us know.
Could be a number of things. So,
but it's rarely the whole batch. It's very rarely the whole thing.
Keep us posted. If you want, you can email me, levi@theragcompany.com. So,
excellent.
All right, Functional Doc. Hey guys, have you tried Ant Tac Systems products and your thoughts? Hi from Ohio. I haven't. Functional Doc, I apologize. I haven't tried any of the Tac Systems products. Anybody else?
I know people talk about Moonlight a lot, but I've never tried it. I've just seen people talk about it.
Yeah, there you go. And then Hector from Puerto Rico. Hey all, I install ceramic coatings that do the rainbow effect and some that don't. Why is that? I don't know. I assume it's just the chemical makeup of the product. I know that silicon carbides tend to do that more than an SiO2. So that might have something to do. So silicon carbides versus silicon dioxides. So that's the only idea I have. So maybe reach out to Ivan. He would probably know.
Yeah.
Wesley Oaks, boys and girl. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Wesley. David Timothy Duval, curious to know what kind of detailing supplies you carry in your respective vehicles and how you carry them. I do not carry any detailing supplies in my vehicles. So I don't tend to wash like when I get somewhere or anything like that. Now, when I do go to Utah sometimes, and it's going to be a heavy bug season or whatever, I do try to bring just a little bit of O&R and a bucket, and that's it, and maybe a drying towel. And then I usually just, or one like microfiber, just to wash the bugs off the front. And I do that at my sister-in-law's or something, and that's it. But most of the time, I really don't worry about it until I get back, because I kind of like having all my stuff. So what do you guys think?
Yeah.
I just carry a couple spare
Anthony?
towels in the car, but it's for rando occasions.
Yeah, I have
Anthony.
a bottle of OptiClean in the back seat of my car, or in that back seat in the trunk of my car, and I have a bag of creatures. That's what I use.
Morgan?
So it depends. Like if I'm going to like a photo shoot or like an event or something, then obviously I'll, take a little pack of some things. But for the most part, I just carry around a bottle of waterless wash just in case of emergencies, Obviously, anytime that I don't have it, a bird poops on my car. But that's pretty much it. I normally have like one Eagle and a bottle of waterless, and then because I don't normally take things into my car. I don't I don't have like a lot of drinks or like whatever in there. So
Just keeping it clean.
yep.
No, in my truck I've got a Minx and a waffle wave, just in case you got to dry
And
off
which
for some
truck?
weird reason or whatever. Oh, the
Which
taco.
truck? Already
You
you've
only have a
already
Jag.
loaded it up.
That's right. I keep the waffle wave and a Minx in the taco, and then in the
First
Jag
blood.
I've got suede cloths. I actually do keep suede cloths on me in every vehicle
Suede
because
cloths.
I like being able to clean the sat nav screen and the rearview mirror because they'll get fudged up over time.
Because you touch them all the time.
Yeah. So just cleaning
You
them
don't
up because
have to do that.
I think people can agree with me. The more neurotic among us, I hate seeing fingerprints on gloss like piano black trim and stuff. Drives me nuts. So I always like clean that stuff off with a little suede cloth. The Jag has a little bit of it in there, but it's mostly lighter silver stuff, so it's not too bad. But the black trim just looks ugh, unless you, give it a quick wipe.
Well, John Hole just texted me and said that to answer the question about the chemical process on the coatings, he said he's pretty sure it's a difference between a physical coating and a chemical coating, Hector. So basically, I think it's the way the coatings are curing. He just texted it to me. Let me see if I can pull it up here. So a chemical coating will bubble and a physical coating will rainbow. That's what I found with Labo Cosmetica. So pretty cool. So that's an idea. So thanks, John, for letting us know about that.
Yeah. We got Todd
Baker.
here.
What type of pad would you recommend using with a cleaner wax all-in-one type to get some correction and finish nicely with the protection? So with a cleaner wax all-in-one, honestly, the orange HDOs or any of the orange Lake Country pads are great. Yellow Rupes pads are great for a basic all-around, cleanup of the surface. You can't really go wrong with it. So, try that. Or the maroon Buff and Shine pad also is another really great one. The Eurofoam maroon. So, and then Svetko Nadanov. Good evening from Bulgaria.
Well, hello.
What's up, dude? Yeah. Alfredo Martinez, what's your favorite heavy cutting pad? Heavy cutting. My newest favorite is the one sitting on Anthony's desk that he forgot to take home last weekend and play with.
Oops.
I'm using it this weekend.
The dual density wool from Lake Country for the new Udos. But before that, for heavy cutting, really like getting into their low lint wool pads. That's probably my favorite. What do you guys think?
Anthony?
Is that a yes?
He's just nodding his head. He was saying something just with his face, not his mouth. So no, I was gonna ask though, what color pad was that for the new Udos that was the one you're recommending? Because they had some funky colors.
It's wool colored.
Okay. Because they have like a desert tan and an olive green and these are not your traditional pad colors.
So it is, in case you're wondering, Dane, it is olive green.
Okay. Yep.
Intermediary foam with a wool covering.
Right. Okay. That's the one.
So,
which
is like a off-white almond.
Off-white?
Off-white.
Almond.
Cream.
Almond. Okay.
Scoop Master back at it. Levi, best way to apply lacquer thinner to a car. A white towel, pour it on, wipe it on. That's easy. He says, can be a spray bottle and spray on white rag, then onto car, or straight from the can, pour it onto a rag and work on it. Straight from the can, pour it on and work on it, because the sprayers will get destroyed because it's a very heavy solvent. So it will destroy your sprayers so fast you'll be laughing, because you'll get like one spray and that's it. You got to replace it. So just pour it on a rag. I prefer white rags, just that way you don't have to worry about any dye leaching from the towel. Plus you get to see all the stuff you pick up. It's pretty crazy. So and Jamie the cleaner just got a bottle of clean wheels. Any specific way you guys get the 10-to-1 dilution in the IK? I still use the IK foam 1.5. Anthony, that's your wheelhouse right there, buddy. 10-to-1 in an old 1.5.
It's 3 ounces of product to 30 ounces of water. That's it. I mean, so basically just empty out your sprayer completely. Do the water first, do up to the 30-ounce line, and then add 3 ounces of clean wheels, stir it in, and let that thing rip, man. I mean, it foams insanely good. So I think that you'll like the result there. Dino Grahovic says, hi TRC gang, any info on new TLC compound? Wish you all the best. So we've been in contact with Jace. Right now he's doing this first run of product through his website specifically, and then we are in line to get the second batch. So more is being made, and we should hopefully have it maybe within the next month or so. So we'll definitely let you guys know. Hans Closen says, Morgan's hair looks very wavy. Looks good on you, sis. Wow.
Thanks,
Morgan,
Hans.
your hair does look very wavy. Did you crimp it today?
No, I actually just went to sleep with it wet, so thank you.
Wow, okay. Mike Spina says, how many ounces of brake buster, 2 ounces of water to make perfect 5-to-1 dilution in the IK Foam Pro 2? Also, have you ever tried it at 3-to-1 ratio in the IK Foamer? All right, Mike, so I'm gonna break this down for you. Don't use it at 5-to-1. Don't use it at 3-to-1. You need to be using it at 10-to-1 dilution. I think that there's a lot of information out there about the whole 5-to-1, and we've maybe even said that at one time. Over the last year or so, we've noticed that brake buster is just a little bit thicker than it was previously, which is not a bad thing. And I just say maybe that for some reason the product formula may have changed to become a little bit thicker. So we're telling people 10-to-1 now. Don't go 5-to-1, don't go 3-to-1. And that's the thing. 3-to-1, less is more in the foamers. And when you try to go for more of a concentrated dilution like 3-to-1, you're going to get some really crappy foam. So don't do it. So basically in the IK Foam Pro 2, you're adding roughly 4 ounces of brake buster, 4 to 4.5 ounces exactly, to the, let's just say 45 ounces of water. So to get up to that 50-ounce line, and then let it rip, and you should have great results. If you want it to be stronger, if you're looking like, if it looks like you need to have more cleaning power, then just use brake buster straight out of the bottle and spray it onto the wheel. If you want to foam it at 10-to-1. 5-to-1 is going to give you some pretty iffy results. Joseph Rodriguez says, what's your favorite iron remover? Levi.
My favorite iron remover? At the moment, it's Wolo's iron remover, but I think we're almost out of that.
We are out of it. We actually are out of it.
Wow.
So next in line, I have always loved Ferrex. It was easy to use, easy to work with. I heard a rumor that the new Iron X formula from CarPro is also very easy, light smelling, doesn't stink. So that's one, but I'm very excited to spend some time with the new G-Technic iron remover. So
heck yeah,
that's going to be
amen,
fun.
brother.
So, that's right.
All right,
so,
we got Svetko.
Svetko.
Close enough.
Petco
says, what wax do you recommend for white diamond color paint, not white pearl? Sorry if I do grammatical mistakes on my comments and questions. So Svetko, in terms of, how do I say this? I don't want to make anybody sound like they have a dumb question, right? But wax, there's no such thing as a wax that will make a certain paint look better than the other, right? A lot of that stuff from back in the day where they made waxes for white paints and tinted waxes for black paints and things like that. you know, a lot of that's really a lot of marketing is what it is. I'm not saying that the tint may not work or it may not have an effect, but I would say that, you know, it's a wax by wax basis, right? Some waxes are glossier than others, some waxes are slicker than others, and it's finding what wax works best for your opinion or what looks the best in your opinion, right? So, like for example, I think, you know, I thought when I did the inspiration coating on my red car, I was like, holy crap, this looks insane. You know, I topped it with Bead Maker, I'm like, oh my god, this looks even crazier. Versus maybe using a spray sealant or maybe using, you know, optimum car wax, right? Certain things will look different on certain cars. So that's going to be a total trial and error thing. I mean, we can tell you maybe
it also
where
depends
to start
on your clear coat and how well it's polished, because that dictates the light refraction that you'd be seeing from that. So you're trying to get as much light as possible to reflect from the surface. So depends on the wax at that point, because in the sense that there are some, like, you know, even though we sell two different types of three different, if you think of like Optimum Car Wax, and then like Wowo's Contact 121 and Wowo's Malo Wax, Malo and Contact 121 really don't change the level of gloss in terms compared to Optimum Car Wax. The three of them are pretty stellar in the gloss meter level. However, the way the three of them and their surface tension is night and day. And the difference is some act a little warmer than others. So like Anthony said, there's not really a right, it's so subjective as to what you want to get out of that white diamond. It's hard to say where to go. I would just recommend Supernatural. It was one of my favorites to put on white, by Dodo Juice. It's a great wax. Easy to apply, easy to take off. That was my favorite for a white, metallic, white pearl, white diamond style finish. I just thought it looked better on that. So
yeah,
that's your answer. That's what you want. There you go. Otherwise, you know, if you just looking at wax, you got to make sure there's a lot more other factors that go into that. So
yeah.
Johnny HD, any rumors on Rupes introducing more hybrid polishers? Rupes is working very hard and diligently to replenish stock around the world. So that's the answer to your question, Johnny. I think that's what it is.
And those guys are tight-lipped about everything else, so don't expect much in the way of leaks.
Yeah, if there's anything new, I don't know, but we'll see at SEMA if there is. I just know that, you know, the company being based in Italy, you know, the COVID took a lot harder hit to them in Italy, and so they're working to try and get built back up and have people come back to work and produce. So they're doing their best. So Wesley Oaks, hybrid long neck is clutch when you need to polish under an R35 wing or in the valley of a Ferrari 458 intake.
True, but Wesley. Also humble brag.
Yeah. Lou Sar, Lucker, ATRC crew, what's your go-to method for cleaning winter plastic mats? Thanks. Morgan, take us away. Winter rubber mats. What do you like?
Like WeatherCheck mats are my favorite because I love an excuse to use like the drill brush attachments, and that's like one of my favorite things to use them on. So normally I just like shake them out and get all of like, you know, sand and dirt and all of like the big stuff off, and then I will spray it off with just water, and then whatever's left on there I just spray whatever. Most of the time I use Power Clean, and I just spray a little bit on there once they're wet, and then drill brush them out. What?
Oh, he was agreeing.
I'm agreeing.
Oh, yes, agreeing with me. Yes, perfect. And then just rinse them off, get all the stuff off, and then most of the time that's all that I do. I don't normally put like a dressing or anything on them because I don't want them to feel slippery. I just feel like that should be illegal. So most of the time that's it.
No, that sounds about right. Yeah.
One thing I like to do is I do like what you did, Morgan, where I clean them, get them all cleaned up, and then depending on the damage or fading on them, I usually will take like a water-based dressing, something like Dynamic from PNS, and I will spray it on but then I will let it bake. So I put it out in the sun and let it sit for a very long period of time, sometimes up to 12 to 24 hours before I put it back in the vehicle. And before I put it back in, I wipe it down with a dry towel. This achieves two things. It provides that gloss back into it, and the sheen and the color back gives it a bit of protection, but reduces the slipperiness. It's not as slippery as it would be had I fully dressed it and left it, but it is reduced and back to the more normal style. One product that I'd recommend you guys check out is McKee's 37's floor mat rejuvenator. It's kind of both. It's kind of a cleaner and a dressing mixture. Kind of it's wild stuff. It's got a degreaser and a dressing, which I didn't think the two could play nicely together, but somehow they do. Works great on floor mats. So check those out.
They love their super specific products.
Anthony, what about you? What are you liking doing them floor mats?
Gosh, man. So I have actually been playing with the McKee's 37 rubber rejuvenator, and I love that stuff, man. So that's a really good product. We don't sell it, but I really, really like it. So I can use that. I mean, it just depends on really how bad they are, but I keep mine pretty clean, man. I mean, I'll shake them out. I take them out of the car pretty often. I'll shake them out if there's stuff in them. If anything spills in them, I'll typically just wipe them out really quick. But I would say like during like in the winter when they get the dirtiest, I mean, pretty much Morgan's is spot on. I'm a big fan of our tire brush on mats. Or we have a black tire brush. It's my favorite. You know, those little I would say like the little not nylon, but whatever the heck they are, the actual bristles are able to kind of get into the cracks and crevices. And when you're using an all-purpose cleaner or even like an interior cleaner such as Express, it builds up a really, really good lather. So something definitely to consider. Okay, so we have Ricky Cologne says, "Hi guys from Puerto Rico, super stoked today as I got my TRC hats.
Hey.
Thanks Morgan and Dane. Well, I'm glad you got those in." And he says he also placed yet another order for a bunch of shirts and the For Real. Ricky, you
nice.
are, man, you are just you're a big hitter, man. I mean, like I think that there's no new product that goes past you, and we really appreciate all the support always. He says he thinks the first time he heard about graphene was in cycling back in 2014 or 16 when Vittoria started using them in their high-end road tires. So yeah, that is definitely interesting.
It does get used in other products quite a bit. Yeah.
Well, and one of the things that I heard originally, first heard of graphene was on bike chains. They were putting graphene coatings on bike chains so that when you're shifting through the gears on the higher end, you know, on the race bikes and stuff, that it was a much smoother. It was easier to make it through all the bearings, and it would just everything slid and moved better this way. So
yeah,
that makes sense.
Very cool.
Kirby Thompson, Dane, do you know the video where Ivan showed us how to use a steel razor blade on paint to remove stubborn bonded contaminants? Looking to share that with someone. I think it's under the playlist. Details with Levi.
It is a Details with Levi channel. And it was on that S15 Sonoma hood, I think.
Yeah. It was on my Sonoma hood. It's us in a white room standing in front of a bright red hood. So
yeah, it was part of that series when we also shot the best way to wash clay wax in one step. We redid that video for a newer audience. That was that same scenario. I think you would find it if you found that video. That took place. Yeah, that would make the most sense. I can find it for you and maybe post it in the community tab on the Rag Company channel here after we're done here. And then you can find it there.
Yeah. Sorry, guys. Billy Bogus was calling me a second ago.
Oh.
So,
Billy Bogus of American Detailer
Billy,
Garage.
if you're
the very
watching,
same.
I will give you a call when we are done. Brandon Johnson, what's a good one-step polish and pad to go with? An orange HDO. And honestly, for a one-step, you could just use Last Cut, an orange pad. It's perfectly fine. Works great. And just wipe it down. Spray some bead maker on it, call it good. Grandmaster of Scrub, hello. Long-time listener, first-time commenter. I was wondering what is needed information-wise for the IDA planning on joining this year. What is needed information-wise for the IDA planning on joining this year what are some classes y'all would recommend? Okay, so Grandmaster of Scrub, the IDA you can join anytime. You just pay your dues. So go on the website, the-ida.com, and fill everything out, pay your dues, and it's a yearly due. So I think it's $112 a year. Very simple, very easy to pay for. Then you get access for webinars every third Thursday of the month. You can take a webinar that they do in the evenings and sometimes afternoons. You can listen to them on your phone. You can participate live on them. And then as to classes, if you're thinking about taking the certified detailer exam, I would see we're currently working on how to do CD in a day events via Zoom or GoToMeeting, so that many people who are looking could do something like that. So that's something that I'm working on with the certification committee, and that would be something for the RTs to host. So it'd be something where us here at the Rag Company, basically Anthony and myself, and maybe my other guys, Josh and John, would get on there, and the four of us would kind of teach folks how to navigate the CD exam. In that sense, we're doing a test run currently with the IDA charter in Norway, and get them going with it first to see if we can make this work. So first things first, I would actually just try to join the IDA. That's the easiest, simplest thing to do. Become a member, get started, and go from there. Rectangle, sup guys? Last week, you guys told me the Liquidator was on wholesale. I can't seem to find it on the website. Also excited to buy the new for real, inspired by the one and only Master of Shine. You are correct. It is inspired by me, but I'm not the originator of the idea. Creed Burns from Tom Scott Honda in Nampa taught me the trick 16 years ago on notching my crevice tool to get dog hair out. And then Tom saw me do that, saw how I used it, and then created the for real as a homage to that. So Rick Heine, good evening from Holland to the awesome TRC crew. I just received my first order of Optimum products from TRC 2 days ago. I've been absolutely amazed with the experience so far. Well, good job, man. Congratulations. Enjoy them. Have fun with them. They really are life-changing products.
Oh, yeah. We should go to Holland someday. What do you think,
that'd be
Levi?
Great. I love that. I would
Sounds fun.
It. Yeah.
What kind of food do they have in Holland?
Dutch food.
Ooh, my favorite.
So, yeah.
I've never actually had Dutch food.
He has no clue.
Dane loves Dane's favorite meal or favorite condiment, I believe, is hollandaise.
Not related, but I'll take it. Sure.
So.
Yeah, I like hollandaise sauce.
You like egg-based dressings?
Eggs Benedict, man. It's awesome.
Yeah.
He's a big Eggs Benedict guy.
What?
Yo, big one. Question: products for cleaning rag tops and soft top Jeeps. What do you recommend?
Great question.
What do I recommend?
Yeah.
Literally never done that.
So, Morgan, I was trying to throw you a soft one there.
No, it's
Why does this look like I have no teeth when I smile?
Your beard hides them.
Oh my god!
Or your mustache, rather.
I'm going to chime in on
yeah, please do, Anthony. Please do.
All right, so check out Ragtop.
What do you got there for us, Anthony?
So Ragtop makes stuff actually that's even licensed by Jeep. Technically, I think they're able to use the Jeep name, but basically, Ragtop has a cleaner, and Ragtop also has a conditioner, which is a UV protectant that can be sprayed on via aerosol, or they have also a spray application where it's just out of a bottle. But we actually do have some videos that we shot with Ivan going over the Ragtop cleaning procedure, and they've been the go-to, man. It's a very niche market for any type of ragtop vehicles or convertible top vehicles, and I think that Ragtop really nailed it in terms of having a cleaner and conditioner that really restores them and makes them look like new again. So check out Ragtop.
To go a step farther, they are backed by the Hartz Corporation in the sense that they do a lot of testing for them. Hartz is the company that manufactures 90% of the soft tops in the U.S. And so your Jeeps, all your convertible tops for some of the cars and manufacturers. So whether it's a fabric top or a vinyl top, they provide all the necessary products you want to use for that surface. So really great products, and again, backed by the manufacturer of many of the tops that you see driving around. So
now I just want to point out, Ragtop has 2 G's in it. If you go looking for it and you go searching,
and 2 P's, Dane.
Yeah,
2 G's,
there's 2 P's. But I think if you search Rag RAGG, it's going to come up automatically on Google.
And
there,
I wasn't
so you should be able
to
to
put
find
Morgan on the spot. Morgan, I didn't want to put you on the spot there. It was just a question I wanted to softball.
Well, I didn't know if we were like, if that was
if
like
we were
good
talking
thing.
about that yet.
Yeah.
No,
I'm
with you.
Test? Are you setting me up? Trying to...
No, fair enough.
Don't do that.
Fair enough.
No, Morgan, you're totally in the right on that one. Better to be like, hold on a second.
Yeah, but the other thing you can do is scrub your top, clean it with some soap and water, rinse it out, make sure it's clean, dry the top as best you can, and then put a fabric sealant or a vinyl protectant if you don't have access to the Ragtop product line, which you can just Google. I think it's wolfensteins.com or wolfsteins.com or something.
Not Wolfenstein, that's a video game.
Yeah, I think it's Wolfstein or something is the company name, but it's like Wolfstein's Ragtop kind of thing. So check that out.
Nice.
Mike Spina, I'd love to see the Civic on some CCWs.
Wouldn't we all? I know somebody that has some.
For sale? You can pick some up, some 4x100?
No, I'd have to steal them from her.
DJ Gravely, thank you guys for taking your time to hold this forum. What do you guys think of a graphene coating?
Somebody must have mentioned them
been,
again recently.
Yeah, we've been talking about graphene all this afternoon. Basically, I would just do some more researching, learn more about it. I think we're probably not going to see a massive influx of graphene products for at least another 2 years in the market. I'm not really worried about getting in and getting on those, being the first to get into it. I want to see where it fleshes itself out and where it goes. Because remember, a lot of companies did the same thing with ceramic coatings, and it's kind of leveled itself back out to where we're kind of seeing the heavy hitters that have lasted and the ones that didn't. So same kind of thing.
If you're looking for details on it, you can definitely go check out, say, like John at Forensic Auto Detailing has some on his channel, did some videos with that. Brian over at Apex did some videos with it. And in the case of Levi here, he did a detox with Ivan where they kind of talked about it on a more general level.
Yeah. But do your research. The biggest thing is to learn everything you can about it, and that way you'll be a little more well-versed in when all the products do start coming out. Chris McPeak, after I use an all-in-one like 3D Speed, would Beadmaker be a good next step? Or should I put down another layer of wax sealant before Beadmaker? Also, is Zano Brothers still a good sealant? As far as I know, Zano is still a really great sealant. Yes, you could put Beadmaker down before putting a wax on top, but also know that you're using an all-in-one like HD Speed by 3D, I think is what you meant. So that already has a bit of a filler in it. And a filler doesn't usually bond very well or tend to bond very well with the surface of the product or the surface of the clear coat. So comparatively towards like something like Beadmaker, which bonds very well. So I would probably try not to use an all-in-one unless it's an all-in-one with a sealant infused in it, like Protect or some of those other all-in-ones. And then I would put Beadmaker. But it's not going to hurt. You can put Beadmaker on anything. Just know that you might not get the longevity, and your car may look kind of funky after a few washes because of the fact that the HD Speed is not designed to last a long time. So,
yep.
Good.
All right.
We've
so
got
where are we at? We had a
Caves
Caves says, hello, I found that brake rust has etched into my BMW X5. Did one pass a Ferrix, but it didn't get it done. Is it a rinse and repeat, or is it game over for the rim? Thanks, Keith from Cali. So I would say that it's not just a one and done thing. You can go back over it, but it really just depends. I mean, is this has it etched through the coating? Is it Yeah, did you agitate it?
Yeah.
Did you spray it on and rinse it off? Because ferrics can be agitated, and it is actually very effective once you start to agitate it because it does begin to foam up. But I would say that sometimes wheels can be at the end of their life, right? If the stock coating has failed, or if you grind it through on hitting a curb or whatever it may be, there's certain cases where it's just not going to cut it. But in terms of brake dust and things like that, if it's just kind of etched or it's baked on there, there is ways to remove it. So what you could do is you can try ferrics again, agitate it, maybe do a couple applications, and then just take some polish and see if you can polish it out. And you can use hyper polish, you can use last pet compound, you can use a metal polish if they're uncoated metal, or even coated metal, whatever you'd like to do. But you might be able to bring them back. We have Travis says he got his package TRC shipping so quick. Well, thank you, Travis. We are
That's the way it should be.
Trying to get things out the door as fast as we can. Scoopmaster says we don't have Cracker Barrel we don't have Cracker Barrel here in Puerto Rico. Is it a good thing or a bad thing? Dane's input is really appreciated. So I would say Cracker Barrel is worth going to. Maybe if you can get your way to the Midwest for some reason.
Well, he comes up to Florida. I think there's some in Florida.
Is there?
Florida is the kind of place I would expect there to be
Hector
some.
Hector comes up to
Dane, I would expect there a lot to be in
Florida.
Florida.
Let me look.
I expect a lot of things to be in Florida.
Yeah.
Hector, when you go visit up in Miami there in Fort Lauderdale.
We're still working on the Dane tries Cracker Barrel video, so that'll hopefully be out soon because I know everybody wants to see that. We have the Bearded Hunter says, "What's up, guys? Got my VLB brush in this past Friday, and boy, is it heavenly! Why didn't I buy one years ago? They are
amazing.
They are amazing.
Quite a number of them.
So, fun fact, I think we actually sold out of them after yesterday's post. I swear to you, like, I think somebody said they went to go check and we didn't have any in stock. Yeah, we literally sold out. So they've been around. They're an amazing tool, but I think a lot of people don't know what they are. So what you should do is if you guys are wanting to pick up a VLB brush for your vinyl, leather, and plastic, go to the rag company, enter your email address so it notifies you when they come back in stock because those things do go quick. We have Matthew McDaniel says, PNS is a fallout soap called Crystal Wash. Is it any good? To be honest, I haven't tried it. I have not tried their Crystal Wash, but maybe here soon we can get our hands on it. Rick
so it looks like there's
says,
about, just so you know, Dane, or guys, there's about 40 Cracker Barrels.
No way. Do you think it's the same menu? Is there Gator on the menu down there?
I'm pretty sure it's the same menu as it is here in Idaho. Quite possibly some seasonal favorites. But just in Orlando alone, there are 5. So wow. Hector, next time, Mobile Tech, buddy, why don't you hit up the Cracker Barrel when you come up? So just saying.
Yeah. All right. So we got Rick Heine says, any information on the Lake Country 230 volt UDOS 5-to-1 polisher release date for Europe? And how about their black sponge? I believe it was designed for rinseless washing. So the UDOS, I don't know if we have a release date for Europe at this time. We could probably reach out to David Patterson see if we can get a date from him. And as far as their black sponge, I don't have any update on that.
So
Steve, sorry, go ahead.
I was
Levi.
just going to say,
you can interrupt me.
The black sponge, designed for rinseless washing.
Which black sponge is he referring to?
The black sponge.
I don't know if he's referring to the black sponge, Levi.
He might not be. I don't know, but I'm just
he's
trying
good
to
at
create
fishing.
A little drama here. Trying to add a little drama. Questions. All right, Anthony, why don't you take the next question?
Sorry. So Steve Greer says, have any of you tried any graphene coatings yet? I just used Art to Shine BX, awesome gloss and slickness. We haven't. We have not used any graphene coatings yet, which I think it behooves us to try those soon and just get some orders. We can start doing some testing with them because that's probably where the market's going to be going here. We're not too far future. So we'll get our hands on some soon. Rick Heine says, Tom Kirby, that razor blade trick is on one of the OPT training videos from the Obsessed Garage. I believe it's the first or second one. Yes, it is also in the OG YouTube channel as well. Brian Schwab is in here saying, "What's up, guys?" And then we have Scott Kissel says, "Will C2V3?" Though this is actually a good question. Will C2V3 dust less than Bead Maker? My car is forced to stay outside, and I'm trying applying Bead Maker in the sun to cure faster and at dusk, but the wind just makes my car a dust magnet. All right, Scott. So here's the deal. So in the curing time that you're applying Bead Maker, right, it has not quite reached its anti-static properties yet, right? So basically in the curing time that is happening within Bead Maker, you're having all these monomers on the surface of your clear coat or of your paint or whatever it is, begin to flip and create a new level surface of protection. In that time they are doing that, right? When, and once it finally happens, they'll reach the max slickness, right? That's why Bead Maker does get slicker with time. So one thing you have to remember is that during that curing process, if it starts getting dust on it, it's not anti-static at that point, meaning that dust will cling to that just like any other detail spray would during that time. So your best bet is to try it. I know your car's outside, but I would try to do it in an enclosed area if you can, or I'd try to do it in an area where maybe you're not going to have wind or dust until it reaches the full curing potential. Now, will C2V3 dust the same way and dust, quote unquote? Yes and no. I mean, we've used C2V3 quite a bit. I've gone through in this last almost a year, right, Levi? Almost a year?
Yeah. I've gone through five bottles, I think, in a year.
I've gone through 4. And so this is just in constant testing. Katie's car, the 4Runner right now currently has C2V3 on it right now. And but her car sits in the garage. I haven't found any really dust collecting on there as much, but give it a day or two and it's going to have dust on there.
The other thing to remember too is what a lot of people seem to forget is we are in this weird transition between spring and summer, and there is a lot of pollen in the air, and that is everywhere, regardless of what product you have on your car. There is potential for Mother Nature herself to just dust your car. I saw a video on Reddit of some people cutting down a tree and watching the tree fall. And when the tree fell, there was a whole cloud of pollen still in the shape of the tree after the tree fell. There was that much pollen on the tree, and that pollen just floated down the street. So it's everywhere. And I know, especially here in my neighborhood, there's a ton of trees, tons of pollen in the air. This season, I've had probably the worst allergies I've ever had because of the pollen in the air. And so I'm going to say, take it with a grain of salt. Towards the later parts of the summer, you may not notice the dusting as bad. But I am going to say, if you are seeing some dusting, there is a chemical reason for it, and Anthony is correct. However, you're also trying to apply it during a time period when there is a lot of dust in the air. So try to be mindful of that and kind of watch, before you switch to another product and have that same issue. Because what could happen is we tell you, C2V3, we haven't any issues, but you put it on your car and you're going to get hit with a bunch of pollen and stuff, and you're going to be like, it dusts exactly the same. Well, at that point, it's the environment, it's not the product. So just think about that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Very cool. Oh man, look what the cat dragged in. Venom 96600 says, "Hey guys, I'm back. Well, long time no see." He says that everybody's staying safe and growing long hair. Well, you would know that if you were here, but obviously you have better things going on, so that's fine. Whatever. We're not.
He went in that apparently hibernation. So
yeah. Well, and tell him to find the paint corrector if you can find him. We have 044 says, "Thanks for answering, guys. I like the idea to trash the carpeting if it has a detail stain, a diesel stain. One more question: do you actually use an extractor on car sealing upholstery? How risky is this? Very risky. Do not
headliner.
do that. Don't use an extractor on headliner.
There's adhesive that holds it up there. You don't want to mess with that.
Honestly, just a wet towel and hot water.
Trash the whole interior.
Hot water works great. So hot water on a towel.
Just buy your client a new car,
Don't do that.
Doug Hope says, "Cool beans. Thanks for the answer on the Tolco sprayers." Rick Heine says, "Great safety tip on the Toreador." Kia Possessor. We have to actually blow through these because we have quite a bit of ways to go.
Oh man.
Says, What's the best way to get paint, auto paint overspray off of black door trim? Try claying it. You can try polishing it. You could try, what else, Levi? What else you got? Overspray. Auto paint though. Yeah.
To get auto paint off of black door trim, clay it.
Don't
razor blade it. A lot of different ways. Plastic scraper.
Try to avoid chemicals because that door trim could stain. So Hans Closen says, but does it really? Does it clean a really dirty seat with just water in the Toreador? Yes. You'd be surprised, Hans. It's pretty freaking amazing. And
you gotta pre-treat it and scrub it.
Because it's not going to just clean. I mean, you're still going to have to wipe it with a towel, but you are lifting that dirt and contamination out of the seat. Yeah. It's quite miraculous.
Well, the Toreador creates a vortices. So as it creates a tornado into the surface of what it's working on, it's actively sucking that stuff out. So it's pulling that dirt out when you do that. That's what its job is. So
yeah. The Venom 96600 says, well, I have to admit I was wrong about Bead Maker. Much better experience in 7-degree weather compared to the 99-degree, 80% humidity from last year. I was wrong, and I'm not afraid to admit it. Well, that's a real man for you guys.
That's cool.
You know, that guy stepping up to the table, saying that he was wrong, right? You know, I think that, a lot of you guys in the comments right now could follow suit. Rick Heine says, for towels used with the OptiSeal as a drying aid, also soak these in some diluted APC, or is it just O&R at 256.1 solution sufficient?
Either one.
Either one. Don't all microfiber towels lint to some degree except for suede? Yes and no. You know, some towels will leave behind some residual lint and others won't lint at all. It just really depends on the style of weave.
Rewashing is important.
G. Davis says, I have the Minx in a taco on VHS. So that's actually a good one. It's from the 80s when things used to be a little bit freer. Spirit 000 says, Morgan, what's your opinion on using a foundation or a kabuki brush from Sephora, for example, instead of a detail brush?
Elf or Sephora.
Okay, so here's my opinion on this. Okay. Quality makeup brushes cost basically the same as a detail factory brush would, and if you buy the cheap ones, the hairs are going to fall out. So there's a reason that people don't buy those to put on their face, and there's a reason that people don't buy those to put in cup holders and on dashboards and stuff, because those hairs when they fall out are so annoying, and you're going to spend so much time trying to get those off and trying to get those out of whatever you're doing that it's just not even worth it. And especially at the price point of the detail factory brushes, it's just worth it, in my opinion, to just get the real thing that was actually designed for that, instead of, spending $20 on a nice makeup brush, because why would you do that?
Right. Well, and you also got to remember that it's not designed for harsh chemicals. It's designed for blushes and powders and things like that, where you're going to be dunking it in APC or some other type of product. That glue is going to fail at a different rate than that. So good point, Morgan.
Ruth.
Hans Closen, today I signed a lease on a part of a building.
Hey.
Wow. Hope this will end well in these times. Well, good luck, Hans. We're proud of you. Scoop Master Breakbuster question. Heaviest dilution ratio. Could be 1-to-1. Which one would you recommend? Straight? Can it be used with an air foamer? Which is the best ratio for air foam or dry foam? So yeah, straight is probably your heaviest dilution, period. Put it in, spray it, straight out of the bottle, you're fine. In an air foamer or in an IK foamer, we still recommend 10-to-1, just because of the foaming aspect. G. Davis says, great news, Hans. Hippolito Campos says, greetings from Panama. Learn a lot with your videos. Thank you, man. Good to see you. Hans says, G. Davis, thanks, man. Delphine Bez, everyone believes it's harder to make white paint stand out and shine. This is where, everyone believes it's harder to make a white paint stand out and shine. No, it's identical process. The difference is your eyeballs can't see the reflection as well. So you can make a white paint job super glossy, just as correct as a black paint job, but your eyes aren't going to recognize it the same way unless it's in a shaded area in which it can then absorb the light and the surroundings and the reflections from the surroundings. But if it's just a white car on concrete, it's gonna be bright and it's gonna make you sneeze. Details Auto Studio, that's where I was going with my white question, Anthony. I apply Supernatural after the Sonax. Thanks, Levi, for validating my track.
Wow.
My train of
There you
thought.
go.
You're welcome, man. Danny Israel, Anthony, how did you find your Triumph paint to polish? I'm going to work on my Daytona this weekend, and I'm trying to clean up marks on the tank and the rear seat cowl. Any tips?
Yeah, so surprisingly, Triumph puts quite a bit of paint on their stuff. So I can't speak for the plastic tank, which I think that your Daytona has a plastic tank. I'd say that probably the same applies, but when I did a paint depth gauge on my tank, I had roughly 9 mils of paint on that tank there, which is very surprising. So I would say you could go probably pretty heavy around the tank where your stomach is, where your groin is, because you could use a more aggressive pad if you want to remove a lot of those love marks. And then the same thing with the tail. I mean, and then just finish it out with something soft, and you should be good to go. But it'll clean up very nicely. When I polished my roommate's old 650 Daytona, that thing turned out like glass, and I was very surprised. So, yeah, normal procedures. UK, Dane, can you say this one? Who is this?
I would say UK valeting, but that would be incorrect. Apparently, it's pronounced valeting. UK Valeting Limited. I'll read it. Hi, all. Hope you're all good. Just got my CD certification from the IDA. When do you think the SV accreditation will be allowed due to CV19? Great
We
question.
are currently working on how we're going to be doing some SVs. As the head of the certification committee for the IDA, like I said, we want to try and open this back up. One thing we'll probably you'll be seeing is make sure you just stay tuned to the IDA website, and we'll probably be announcing it that way. So if you're on the mailing list, you get your emails. Don't just not read them. Read them, because we'll probably come up with an actual plan here starting next month. So to get that going. So David Tatoli, hey guys, I have an 18 Subaru Outback Touring. Just learning the detail. I picked up a Max Shine M8S, which tells David, we already answered your question, man. So go back to the top and watch it again. It was the very first question. So it's now the 4 o'clock time period, even though it's 4:30, we're 30 minutes behind. G Davis, right at the top there. Ricky is the Hans of Puerto Rico, or vice versa.
Probably true.
44. Last question for today. Best detailing extractor model and how heat option is essential. Thanks. Yes, heat option, amazing. I will tell you the Terminators from Thuramax are some of the bulldogs of the industry. They last forever. They're super easy to work on. I think they cost anywhere from $1,500 to $2,000 American to get, a good, but they're very simple. It's about 3 or 4 parts total. They work wonders, and they last a really long time. You get 2 vacuums, so you get a very strong level of suction. And yeah, really great machine. So I recommend it. Hans, G Davis, only you know about that. I'm clueless. G Davis, for those on the YouTube, please join Dane and I for the premiere episode of Bumpin' Tacos, all Toyota truck talk. Second hour includes all the jokes deemed too racy for the Q&A. Oh, man. That sounds like a great time. Yikes. I want to be ready for that. So Ricky Colon, G Davis, laughing face. David Tatuli, I recently found this show, the podcast, learning a lot from you guys.
Well, thanks,
How
David.
can you guys run through the types of pads are good for use on my Outback Touring? It's somewhat confusing for a beginner. Okay, David, so again, we answered this right at the beginning, so I apologize. I know you didn't see that or hear that. So here's the best. So flat foams for that polisher, Lake Country flat foams. We have them in 4 different colors. So the colors dictate the amount of cut each one has: yellow, orange, green, and black. In that order. Yellow is going to be your strongest, and then softest is going to be black. You can use microfiber Lake Country pads. You can use the low lit wool Lake Country pads if you'd like. There's not really going to be a need for it with that machine. That machine doesn't really produce enough power to provide an ample cut with those higher end with the higher pads like the microfiber or the wool. So I try to stick with just the foam. And then the CCS pads are basically flat foams with dimples in them. The goal for that is to create breathability, so it will generate less heat on the surface, because foam will generate a lot of heat very quickly if left in one spot. So those Lake Country pads are the best. If you had to pick two to work with, orange and black, those are your best, whether they're flat or CCS. Simple, easy to run through. Rick said something, something in Holland, in Dutch that was very mean. His message retracted.
Oh.
Han says, Rick ordered a TRC Europe, ? As another fellow Dutchman there. Vigor Auto Detailing, hey guys, how much would it cost to get Anthony to grow a beard bigger than Levi's? That's a good question, Joe. Matt from OG has been known to throw out a number, then he would do it. Name your price. Anthony, how much money is it going to take you to grow a beard as mine?
I've never seen him.
John has cut his off. John cut his off.
It's not even. It's not a matter of money. Yeah,
I'm now
it's
the
not a
leader
matter
of the
money.
rag company based solely on the length of my beard. I believe that's how things are done.
So
Very old
basically,
school.
my problem is that I can't grow it. And, you know, some people would call it maybe like a beard struggle is kind of what I have. And like I'm
a beard
and
struggle.
I just don't
know
think,
a company that
think
provides many products that could help you grow a thick, healthy, ladies-loving beard.
Yeah, no, Levi. So
Shouldn't.
I just wish there was a product line that I could put on my face that could help me grow a beard faster. I just don't think they exist.
Yes.
No,
And
Anthony,
so-
I don't think it's meant for you.
Yep. Beard struggle. If you go on there, use the code Levi15. You can get yourself some wonderful products. Anthony, I think you actually put some of Freya's Bliss, the day tonic that you put on your facial hair, your stubble.
Is that what that was?
Yeah, it was delightful. It was invigorating, felt good. You said it was tingling. I think what it was doing was actually stimulating growth.
You told me that was a bottle of your family heirloom, and I just said, okay, I'll put it on my face and see how this works.
That's beard
I'm
struggle.
sorry. I need to
Bliss.
address the fact Anthony just said heirloom.
That's what I said.
There's a lot of things you can't say, Dane. There's many
man.
words that
I'm sure it's very frustrating for him.
Dane,
Yeah.
Dane,
Yeah.
I said that on purpose.
Now that
Okay.
this is now that we're derailed, here's the deal. You can go to the Beard Struggle. You can pick up products. If you go back onto my Facebook or my Instagram, you'll see the links. You'll see the codes. Use them. It'd be awesome. All right. Next step. Kyle House's birthday is today. It's Kyle House's birthday. I want to wish him a happy birthday. Kyle House, happy birthday from all of us to you. You're not
Happy
on
birthday,
here,
man.
which I think is very strange that you're not on here today. It's probably because you're celebrating with your family, with your wife, your children, and that's totally fine. But we wanted to wish you a happy birthday for the record. So,
Happy birthday.
okay, Anthony, what were you going to say?
I like how you said we've derailed as you continue to plug the beard struggle.
Really?
You're like,
That's how you
guys,
do it. That's how you do it.
We've derailed. So go to the beard struggle. I'm like, wait, what?
Well, Anthony, it's just disgusting how some people take advantage of a situation.
Good situation like that,
Thank you.
trying to shill their products and items. This episode brought to you by Cheaper 1378. Excuse me if I missed, but I just joined. I heard there's a certain black sponge soon to come out.
No, we have no idea what you're talking about.
No, you're just gonna have to stay tuned to the Rag Company Instagram page. If you're not following already, please go down there and follow. G Davis, many Cracker Barrels in Florida. Danny Israel says, that's right, G. G says, fun fact, Danny Israel and I hung out together at the Orlando Cracker Barrel on their Hello Over 55 Ladies Night. Oh, and then Danny says, G Davis in the Villages, of course. Very nice. Yeah, I've been to the Villages.
Yes.
It's a fun time, real fun time.
Well, wait a second.
I had to go down there when I went down to the Suss Garage when I was working on Matt's S2000. He put us up in the Villages at a hotel across the street from his office at the time. And it was dead in the heart of the Villages. It was very strange. It was like spring break, but for old people. No one.
Yeah,
was
that's
there.
basically what the Villages are.
was very strange. It was very strange. It was like, when you cruise downtown, and you go by Dirty Little Roddy's and like the bistro and those kinds of, they're overflowing with college students, or people from the ages of 21 to 30. It was like that, but everybody was 60 to 80. Yeah. And they had golf carts that they were walking out to, stumbling drunk with Tommy Bahama
with like
shirts.
sound systems blaring out of them, and
very strange. Straw hats and Tommy Bahama shirts. Anyway, Scoopmaster, for removing ceramic coating, 70-30 is too absorbent, so absorbs the coating itself. 80-20 could scratch. Open loop could be too grabby. Pearl type is the best. Or Pearl 70-30, how low can I go on GSM? Whew. All right. So pearls are recommended by many coating companies because of the tight weave. 80-20 isn't going to scratch unless it's on a very soft surface, but the goal is that the coating has done its job enough to prevent and limit the scratching that is going to be happening. What you've applied is providing some resistance. 70-30 isn't so absorbent that it is going to be absorbing all the product. I feel like that's a myth. So I'm going to say 70-30. We make pearl weaves in 80-20, which is the silver edgeless or gray edgeless and the green with the overlock stitch edge. And then we make our Korean 70-30 pearl as well. But the edgeless 300, edgeless 365, and even the creatures are great for coating removal. So Hector, get on those. Vigor, by the way, Morgan, you're having a really good hair day. Thanks, Joe. It's really great.
Thanks,
Appreciate
Joe.
that. It was very nice of you to say that. G. Davis says, before I go, I want to give a big shout out to all the G. Davis fans in Canada. Your love and support humble me. # genius.
Wow.
So great. Glad we could be helping out there, G. Han says, what about the G. Davis Dutch fan club? Thanks for forgetting about me, man. Then Hector back at it. I like high pH on my wash, soap on my wash before decon. I use Purple Power Vehicle and boat wash, but I want more detailing oriented high pH soap. Recommended. You're going to want to look for decon soaps, Hector. I would probably, reach out to the folks at UMA and talk to them, see if they've got anything with a higher pH. I don't really know all the brands that they carry at the moment, so I can't really help you figure that one out. But realistically, you're going to want to probably either add a little power clean to your soaps if you're going to be wanting to try and get to that level. So Spirit Zero, I hadn't thought about APC versus makeup. Thank you for the perspective. Spirit Zero, that's us dropping bombs. Morgan is a fountain of knowledge when it comes to that stuff. So Hans Clothes and compounding boats and polyester boats.
I'm sorry, polyester boats? What?
Best to use a rotary, or would Rupes Mark II be good also? Polyester boats. Hans, I don't know what that is. For compounding and polishing boats, I think is
probably that. Yeah. Probably
rotary is still the king for a boat and RVs. But Rupes Mark II works fine for those jobs.
Now I'm just picturing a boat made of polyester.
G. Davis says, I've always said Anthony needs a questionable beard, quote unquote. Oh, gross. Han said, my grandpa always said chicken doo-doo makes hair grow faster.
Oh, no.
Yoshi, how did I manage to join the live stream right when Levi brings up bribing people to do things?
Yoshi, you're just talented like that.
Yep. Jeeper, lol, I can actually watch my facial hair grow. I bet, man. Mike Filler, what's the best tar and bug remover you suggest? We don't use a lot of bug and tar remover. We are in the process of testing the G-Technic bug remover. But for us, what we love using is a little bit of power clean sprayed on the front of the car or ONR, and utilize our Jersey bug scrubber. That works probably the best for all that. And I still really love ONR as a bug remover. I think it works really, really well and does a really good job. So G. Davis, Levi, how long do you wait before face sit training with the kitten? Face sit training with the kitten.
It's a technique.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. I'm gonna have to learn that. We'll have to see.
Patience is key.
What's a good product to remove hard water stains on black paint?
We have a video on that.
Dane, what is the best product to remove hard water stains on black paint?
Well, based on our experience of taking G-Technic, what was it, W9, I believe?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
water spot remover.
applying it to the very nasty water spots on my very black Jaguar, that actually managed to remove the deep stuff. Like, it really got it, and it did it quick. That's what was so impressive, but it didn't seem to damage anything. And according to the bottle, it's okay to use on coatings, which is what I was initially worried about, being that it's a coated car with OptiCoat Pro Plus. I wanted to make sure I wasn't going to be, taking some of that protection away by just wiping some, water spot remover on it, because you get some, they're a little too strong. But this seemed to be that perfect bridging of the gap.
Nice.
Yeah. G. Davis's line here, Hans' polyester boat is at his disco, which I feel is a sentence that you get after putting Panic at the Disco into Google Translate, translating it to Dutch, and then translating it back to English again.
Hans polyester disco. Good stuff. Good stuff.
We're at the bottom of the list now. We caught up.
I know, we made it. We caught up very quickly, rapidly, some would say. So tonight I'm going to be detailing a little truck for Gabe Garcia, who's now the new head of the TRC media department.
Whoa.
Dane's boss. So
rising
really
fast,
excited,
man. Rising fast.
Really excited to be cleaning, Dane's new boss's truck. I thought that's probably one of the greatest things, for me.
Well, what I'm finding about bosses at the rag company is that I find that most of them actually drive Toyota Tacomas. So I think it's just it's a thing. Yeah.
Yeah. We're all in a club.
Truck I'm going to be working on. It's very
Wow.
clean.
It's very of its era, but that's what makes it so cool, is the graphics on the side and stuff.
It's very turquoise.
Yeah. Super turquoise. It drives really nice though. Having driven it a couple of times myself, that old school interior is nice.
Well, it's got a pull a little bit. I think it's out of alignment. It's got a bit of a whine on the brakes. So,
it's got all those things going on.
But very low mileage, 130,000 miles, I think, on that thing. So very nice. Very nice
classic.
truck. Yeah, yep.
Should have some fun cleaning it up.
No, for those of you guys wondering, Greg, it's funny. G. Davis. Gabe started our channel with Dane. So Dane and Gabe started doing the channel together. When we first did our series of videos, Gabe brought his students in from Capitol High School. He's, doesn't have any summer school this summer. So we invited him to come help us get the new studio set up, help run stuff, help do some technical support with us, as well as we've got, Tim was a former student of Gabe's, and Jimmy is a, self-taught video producer or editor. And so this is going to this is what Gabe does for a living, is teach people how to do this stuff. So Gabe's kind of given us all a new, he's kind of taken us to school. So we're really excited to be able to learn a little more about video editing and how to shoot things. So Morgan and myself, who don't know too much, but know enough to be dangerous, he's going to help us. He's going to, hopefully help Anthony with some of his skills, as well as just get our team on a level where we're all kind of working together to be able to do some stuff. So it's just jokes when I'm joking about Gabe being Dane's new boss, because it was very funny when they were
we are peers,
what he was going to be doing. Because it's Gabe.
I love Gabe because he brings that, like, he's such a nice person, but he's very good at just having that teacher kind of affectation to the way he interacts with people. He's good at getting people to do things he asks them to, but he's never like telling you to do something that would just be ridiculous and there's no point to it. He always has good purpose behind it. But I wanted to say, Morgan, you did a great job directing the videos we shot today.
Oh yeah, I was like 3, 2, 1.
Well, her favorite part was telling Anthony what to do while he was in front of the camera. Basically handed off and said, all right, Morgan, you're counting us down. You're doing the slate. You're doing all that stuff. And you got to tell Anthony what to do today.
Yeah.
This
great.
Is awesome.
Love that.
Yeah. So that's basically what's going on there. But I wanted to point out, man, I think there may be some confusion on a recent video we released on the main channel here, like about YouTube channels that you guys like to watch. People took it as like some kind of favorites competition or like some kind of like top 10 list. These are the only channels you can watch and everything else is bad. No, it's literally just the ones you guys like to watch. That's all it was. And I think a lot of the comments as I read them are just like, oh, they get so hung up on like a ranking system when really there was no ranking to it. It was just, oh, and then there's this one and that one. That's all it was. But wow, watching people get heated about that, it's amusing watching the comments just go. But yeah.
So Danny Israel says, Anthony, congrats on the new Honda. Must make your hands appear really big compared to that red Honda behind you.
Oof.
So it does. Well, what I've actually found is that the actual pull, the lever to get obviously the blade started, is actually quite a reach, right? And so I actually two-handed initially. I kind of just collapsed it, kind of like a clamshell, to basically get my grip, and then I just let that thing run, man. It's actually pretty nice.
I bet it's a single pull, just a one quick pull, fires right
one
up.
pull. That's all it is. It's one pull. It basically mows itself.
Are you able to do a one pull on your mower and it fires right up?
Oh, are you talking to me?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, mine takes probably 3 or 4. You gotta work it. It's gotta be in the mood to wanna run. Yeah. Well, some people aren't just, one pull chumps over here. Some people gotta work for it. So
yeah, I understand.
At the end of the day,
Dane, I appreciate that commentary there more than you know.
I'm sure there's a few in the comments who will enjoy that. Anyway, we've got some to read.
Has anyone tried other P&S products like their Epic waterless wash or showroom detailer? So yeah, we've tried most of the products. We haven't tried their Epic waterless wash yet. The showroom detailer we used for a couple of years on Air Force One. So we're pretty well versed in it. G Davis, yes, I'm a boss. Envision HD, what are good products to clean the stains on black rubber trim under the windows? The stains are brown in color. Invasion, I'd probably look at using just some power clean and a towel, clean and scrub that up. If you can, use some hybrid polish to polish that stuff back out. But if it's brown rubber trim, I'd probably want to use power clean to wash those first. Try and get some of the browning out of the rubber. If it actually is rubber. If you want, you can send me a picture, Levi at theragcompany.com. Jeeper says, Auto Fanatic secret weapon work for me. Thank you, Jeeper, for throwing that in. Han says, what speed would you use compounding boats and RVs using a rotary? Any tricks you can tell me? I have 3 boats to do tomorrow. Oh my gosh, Hans. So low and slow. I try to keep it under 2.5 at the max on a rotary. I never go any higher than that. Keep it slow, keep it low and slow. It's pretty, it'll cut pretty quick. No pressure. You ride the edge a little bit. G Davis, Dane and Gabe, Idaho's #1 Simon and Garfunkel tribute band. That's a good stuff right there.
It's an homage.
Yeah. Yoshi saying OG and now TRC stepping up their video production. I'm going to say that Yoshi, I think it's more TRC and now OG stepping up their video production, because we have had quite a large video production department for a number of years. This is just now we have our own space to fully work on.
The building has taken a long time.
We have a building that is bigger than the OG HQ, solely dedicated for videos. That's what we're going to be doing. So,
jeez, stop sounding like you're bragging.
Not bragging, Dane. I'm pretty proud of it. But Yoshi, thank you. It's interesting to see the progression of all the different companies that are starting to follow suit with what we started with.
Starting to notice videos are important.
Yeah. Yep. And Matt has always generously been one of our best friends and closest friends with this kind of stuff, and is always asking questions to our team to find out more and learn more. So G Davis, a lot of great comments. Oh wait, I missed a bunch here. Invasion says, Jeeper, got to check that out. Yoshi, does Morgan have her own director's chair now? Yeah. She does. G Davis says, there was a lot of great comments on that video.
There sure were, G.
By our best friends. But, hey, when you're attacked, you got to fight. right?
Lessons learned.
Thompson, Levi, on the Suburban wrap, are the letters and logos printed on base material or they overlay on top of that dark blue base? Did not see the product from the last
did not see the process.
So the process is on a video. You can go on the Rag Company website. It's a 3-hour live stream called the Rap Institute Live, where we did the Suburban. Actually, it's probably 5 hours. So the first covering was the blue. We wrapped the whole truck in blue. And then all the Rising Sun, as it's called, the colors with all the logos, were die cut separately. And then we just stuck them on top of the blue. So the reason I did that was in case there was any damage or things fell off, one, I could swap them around. We, not use a certain company or not, a company falls off or whatever. We're able to switch that around. So I could not, without changing the whole color, I could just change those logos. The other reason was it worked the best for depth in the style of the vehicle, was to do it that way. We could have printed it, but I like the way the vivid colors that just a non-printed vinyl looks like. So this is the vinyl itself that you're seeing. So 2 colors. So one is the base and then one is a cutout that is added, overlaid to the top. So you can watch, so go look at it and watch. We were talking about probably doing that same process for this next year when we do a car with Justin. He has been talking about wanting to print a logo, like print a wrap. So that could be something also we could do. And the person whose car we're talking about doing it, it would be up to them as to how they want to design that logo. Do they want it to look like it just got done running the Nürburgring? Do you want to make it look like it's kind of dirty and gross and beat up and we got bugs printed on there and things like that? Or do we want to make it look
warplane?
Right. Do we want to do that? Do we want to do it? Just depends on the style of the customer and what they're doing. So we could have printed it, but we'll see what we do next. But I like this process. Invasion, how would you recommend cleaning gray seatbelts that are dirty? Toreador, probably your best bet. Ricky Cologne, without spending extended periods of time without using the cars, do you have recommendations for battery tenders, mostly for the 1M and my wife's? Anthony, you have a car you don't drive all that often.
I drove it just the other day. I don't use battery tenders, man. I have never used. I mean, I don't even use them on the bikes in the wintertime. I typically always try to find time to start them up, go rip around the block really quick, just get the fluids moving. But they don't really sit. Even the wintertime with my motorcycle, I don't use a battery tender. I just start them up, and even if it's freezing but it's dry out, I'll just go do a quick spin around the block, just get things going. Let the bike, idle or so for whatever it is, 10, 15 minutes. Same thing with the cars, and then, turn them off and rinse and repeat. But I think the battery tender brand is fine, I think.
There's a few options as someone who's had to go through this a few times with battery tenders and just pointing out some options. With the Jag, I knew, for example, at one point I had a lot of cars and I felt bad not driving them. I wanted to make sure I kept them charged and didn't let them die off.
That's not true. You've only ever had 2 cars since I've known you.
Sure. So one is a brand that's pretty good, is called C-Tech. And that's one where it's literally the letter C and a dash and then TEK. And they do I think they do a lot of white label stuff for other brands. Like when a brand has a battery tender in their parts catalog for the aftermarket or whatever, but it's through the brand, it's accessories. They do those for a lot of different companies. They're really good quality. They're well built. But what I find is it has a cool feature on the one I got for the Jaguar. I haven't had to use it, but I have it just in case. It lets you detach the little the end so that you can actually attach to the terminals on the car, and it has a quick disconnect. So then all you have to do is when it's plugged into the car, you keep that top section attached to the terminals on the car, close it away, put it away. But then you have the setup in your wallet, and all you do is you just plug it in. That way you're not fishing around trying to put it onto the actual terminals every time you want to hook it up. It's a nice little side thing. I happen to like it, but yeah, C-Tech.
Very nice. Very nice. Hans says, Dane, you're better at kicking things.
I'll take
and
that.
Vigor, Joe says he just bought the For Real and the MOS hat. Also, thank you for getting an XXL in for the BBMs. Big beautiful males. G Davis, SS Hans Closing, Party Boat, and Stuffed Ham Outlet. Hans says for only small boats that can't reach your house in those. Otherwise you look stand next to it, bounce your head. Okay, bounce off your head maybe if you stand next to it. G Davis, Luke Bergen called me at midnight last week. Told the wife it was Jake from State Farm.
Well, he sounds hideous.
Yeah. And then Cockavin 53, as always, thanks for sharing information with us. You're welcome, man. Thanks, appreciate it. Hans Closing, he called me also after Q&A. Good thing I had my phone on silent since it was past 1 a.m. my time. Jeez. Well, Hans, thank you for always staying up with us and being a part of this. You know it means a lot to us. And man, thanks everybody. We got 3 minutes left.
Get them in while you can.
Getting warm here. I'm in the MOS HQ. Got a fan on the ground here. Got the big fan up. I haven't turned it on yet because it'll probably drown us all out. So I have to wait a little bit. And then Invasion says, thanks for the answers to my questions. Keep up the amazing content, amazing products. Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Invasion.
Vigor says, big black man, Levi.
Had to correct you, I guess.
I was saying big, beautiful man. So,
yeah.
Sorry. Delphine says, I have a few small dings on one of my alloy wheels, but the garage said they can't do anything about it. Actually, I did not find paint to hide them and did not find paint. Oh, I'm sorry, Delphine. Umberto says, for seatbelts cleaning, I've used the Toreador, but also 303 spot cleaner and a seatbelt brush, even with simple green, well, depending on how dirty they are. Ricky says, thanks, guys. Yeah, with the extended strict lockdown here, we couldn't really drive my wife's SUV once in a while to keep the battery charged. Had to jump start it twice. Makes sense. G Davis says, thanks, guys. You're the best. No, Greg, you are the best. And we thank you for hanging out with us and being a part of this show. We're just finishing up these last 2 minutes here, and it'll be exciting. So
well, and Ricky, on that battery there, I mean, if not for a battery tender, the hard part with getting any battery up to charge and stuff is it takes like 20 minutes of driving. It has to be under load for it to work. You can't just leave it idling and expect the battery to charge that way. It's not going to work. So not being able to drive it means
not even under load. It's about 2,000 RPM before the alternators kick on. So but
it's not going to work at idle is the main point.
Yeah. What I love is we got 2 thumbs down votes.
I know. Well, those came in early. So I think somebody who was still mad about that YouTuber video just decided to come over and be like, there they are. Just like,
yeah. Quite nice. It's great to see all these wonderful thumbs
They're just letting us know that they're here.
Yeah. Yep. Oh, well.
All right, Dane, take it away, man. We're about to hit 5.
Well, and on that note, thank you so much for being here, guys. I've noticed lately we've had more people, concurrent viewers here on the stream than usual, which is great because it shows it's growing. But I challenge you to find someone else you know who likes cars, likes detailing, or at least has a passing interest in it. Get them to come on here, ask us some questions. Like if they're not sure about stuff, just bring them over. That'd be a really nice thing to get them involved, show that, hey, there are people who will literally sit down for 2 hours every week and listen to what people have to say. We do that. I can't think there are many other companies, let alone just detailers in general, sitting down doing that every single week. And you can see we're on number 71 here. So we've been doing this a little while.
Thank you.
We really, really appreciate our regulars, of course, but we really welcome new people too. So I want you to just look out for somebody. If you know that they like you watching videos on YouTube and they have detailing questions or they're curious about it or whatever, bring them on here. Just tell them about it and they can check it out. And we'd really appreciate having the extra content too. So thank you. And thank you in advance. And of course, we do our podcast every Monday, Tuesday, and with Detox Cast, all that stuff. There's a lot going on. But I wanted to point out one big thing, and I know you guys are all ready to go, but we were adding an extra channel to our library of the Rag Company channels. I know we got the podcast channel now, and we've got the main channel, which is what most people know, but we are finally doing something I think a lot of people will be extremely excited about, and that is we are adding the Rag Company FAQ channel. That is going to be a channel that hosts exclusive videos for answering questions in a direct manner. We're talking less of the, I'm going to chat you up and talk about this kind of stuff beforehand, just getting right to the point, because we know there are people who enjoy our videos, but maybe just want like the tightest details. They just want to know the answer to their question and move on. Well, the FAQ channel is going to be that for you guys. So I hope you're excited about it. And when it comes out, I'll promote it around and hopefully you guys will subscribe to it. We're looking to, grow it really fast, but that's going to be our big resource for answering people's questions in a nice, timely manner. So hopefully you guys appreciate that. It'll cover everything under the sun at the company. We'll work to just keep expanding the library and it'll go on and on. So bring us your questions and we'll pop out those videos. All right? I think that sounds pretty good. So with all that said, guys, this is us saying adios.
See ya.